This is the colour of the plug after I've done a bit of idling in the shed. It was cleaned up, but when I come back from a ride, it's that when I was playing with the float bowl was when I put the new temperature sensor on, started again. When I did the vacuum adjuster, started again. Then when I had the trouble with the motor, so about 4 different times, maybe 5 or 6, I just idling it in the shed, never under load, and that's what it looks like. I don't like it. It's a lot of soot. Obviously the carburetor's not right, and maybe burning oil. Now this is what the spark plug was like after a short ride, after I fixed whatever that thing was wrong with the motor and the float bowl and all that sort of stuff. I took it out, but the float bowl wasn't working right, and it was like leaning out, and that is a very lean setting there on that electrode there, top and bottom one. So it's not right. It's still soot around the outside, and obviously I've got to get that float bowl sorted to get some kind of colour out of it. Too rich, just idling in the garage. Not right. Too lean, starving fuel out of the float bowl. Not a setting you want to go riding on. Got to fix it. You know how I said this valve thing here broke? Well, I got a new one. I couldn't find anything online, so the best thing I could find on eBay was this for an aquarium, just for the air bubble, and it's spring loaded, so it's quite tight. See, it just ball cocks there, closes itself off. So it's quite tight, and I'm quite comfortable that wherever I put it, it will sit. I'll just show you what it looks like on the bike. See how that shakes all over the place? I'll just turn it. One more mod before I get back on the road again. You know how I said last time that the radiator was reading 60, like it was just self-regulating itself at 60. 60's okay, I'm happy with 60, but 60's low enough that I can now control it up to where I want to be, which is probably around the 75. I don't know why I want 75, but that's just where I want. So, with no pump, no nothing, and just that thermal flow, my good old race days when I had a two-stroke race bike, we only used to adjust the water air going through there by putting that over there. So that takes about a third of it, and then I'll see what temperature that changes it to, and I'll just regulate the flow until I'm reading, you know, just below when that pump wants to turn on at normal riding. So that's the plan. I'm ready for the next ride. From that last ride, I'm still not happy with the float bowl. Somehow, I showed you that spark plug. Somehow it's starving, and I don't know why. Maybe the float bowl catches on something. Remember, this is Chinese. I'm comparing the two carbies, and I can't see any difference. Not that I've run this one yet. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe the float bowl was catching a little bit on something. I don't know what. So I'll put it all apart and have a close look at it. And while I'm having a close look at it, I thought I might start having a look at the NOS and start to get that ready. And you know this setup. But I made a slight modification. I started to experiment by putting a hose on here and running fuel into it. But what was happening was that, see, this was just a washer and a spring there, so that when you tension it down, the tension on the washer and the spring holds it in place. But the problem with that is that fuel, when I closed it down enough to block the fuel coming out there, it was then just pouring out the top there. It was just bypassing the thread and just leaking all over the carby, so I couldn't have that. So I've got a little collection of O-rings here, and I put a Nylex nut on there, and then an O-ring between. Now, it doesn't give me a lot of room, but between all the way off and on enough, it does that, and that'll fix the job. So what I'll do, I'll just set this up on the motor and the fuel pump going through, and I'll show you what I can do. Because remember, I'm going to have NOS running down this hose. I've got to mix it with fuel, So I want to have an ability to adjust my fuel to an amount that, I don't know what that amount is yet, some ratio with this NOS. So as long as I can overdo it and then back it off is the plan. So I'll just set that up and show you what that looks like. Now this is just a very temporary setup, just a hose shoved in the fuel line and onto here. At a later point I have another solenoid to go on here, so that'll work. I just don't have enough hands to show you close up. So there is the hose that'll go in from the NOS. That's the little hole on there on the thing. Now I will turn the fuel on. It does leak a little bit when the fuel goes on, which is interesting. Anyway, so that's like that, and I'll turn the power on. You'll start to see it pump. Right, see that? Now that would you think the NOS is going down there with it? See that? That is all the way on, and I can turn it off down to, that's it, nothing, or just a little bit. Pump's gone nuts. Oh, I've run out of fuel is the problem. It's getting air from the tank. Here we go. There we go. There's solid fuel now. There you go. That's. I don't think I'm going to be squirting NOS in an amount to deal with that. And if I back it off, so I have the ability to adjust it. I'm happy with that. Just turn this off. There we go. So that's that. I'll just sit that there for a second. Also, you know how I said the bike, probably a starter motor issue where that noise was. I've got a new starter motor, like $15. I can't spin it one hand, but I've spun this both directions and it doesn't make a noise. So maybe I've cracked a magnet or something, or done something in there, chipped something, or maybe there's something wrong with that one in there. Anyway, next time I pull that apart to put the blower on there, I'll swap out the starter motor. Until then, it seems to be running, so I'll just leave it like it is. Now, the last bit of fueling setup I have to do for the NOS is, this is a fuel solenoid, in, out, and adjustable. I don't think I'll use that adjustable, but it's there. And I was trying to figure out some way to put it, but I think I'm going to do, you just sit it on there like that. Oops. One-handed, not going to work well. Sit it on there like that. And now I'll just do that up. Done. Now that'll sit there happily. It's not in anything's way. These two power cords, I will send them across the other side, and I'll pick up power the same place as this, so that when I push the button, the solenoid for the NOS goes and the solenoid for the fuel goes, which is good. I've got to talk a bit more of that in a second. So next thing I was going to work out how I'm going to run the fuel to it, fuel in. Well, first off I thought maybe just a little, you know, obvious little T in a section down there. Run the fuel into there, and then out. That all sounded good when I first looked at it, but then I thought, well, if I have a T in a T section like this, there's going to be a dead area, a dead line of fuel. It's, you know, it's a bit of length, so air in there be stuck there. There's no reason for the air to go, no reason for the fuel to want to get up, because it's just a dead end. Air will go to the top, fuel will stay down, fuel will keep feeding the carburetor. When I push the NOS button, you've seen it with that fuel button, doop, 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 doop. That's seconds. And then doop, 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 into the carburetor from the fuel pump. So that's going to cause a problem. That's where it's got to go to, that one just there. A small line, big line. Two different sizes, so I've got that to deal with. So what I've come up with, I'm going to run. Remember down underneath there, there's a fuel filter in here. I'm going to run the fuel filter line, put a black one on there, run a fuel filter line up to here, and have my have my, this is around the wrong way, that will go into there like that, just directly in. The fuel line will go into the bottom of that from here, and then from the top it'll go up over and down into the carburetor. I'll show you when it's all set up. But the theory is now, fuel will have to come up here, past this, and then into the carburetor. That has a slight angle on it, so the air will dribble out. This will be full of fuel always. So that will be good. And I'll make this from here to here clear so I can always see any air bubbles in the top there, etc, etc. So I have fuel available to here. I'll have NOS available to there. Now, when I hit that NOS button, I've got to think, theoretically, I'd like them both there at the same time. I'd like them both, the NOS to in there to the injector I've got in there, and the fuel hitting there both at the same time. If I don't, if the NOS hits it first and gets there before the fuel, the NOS is going to make it run thin. If the fuel gets first, it'll run rich. Rich I can deal with, the lean is dangerous, especially when you're high revs. So timing is going to be important. So how do I, remember I'm going to have here now, this turns on, I'm going to have duk duk duk, and it's in. That's right, it's much shorter. So what I've thought of is, it's a big line, but I put a small line inside of it. That small, if I cut that off and put that small line onto the end of that carburetor there, whoops, onto there, that'll work. And I just put a big clamp around it. I've poked that inside there all the way up. So if I then put that on there, so the fuel line, that small line just goes right up to there, it'll seal off against there. The clamp on here will seal off in here. I'll have a smaller diameter inside. Smaller diameter means that each duk goes a lot further. So it'll just be duk, and then you're in. So the theory is, I hit the NOS button, the fuel may get there faster than what the NOS does. That won't blow up a motor. Also, I can spin that round and run that NOS directly in faster that way. So I still have some room to move if I get my timing wrong. All in all, I'll set that up, show you another look at it, and then I'll be good for that. That's the final thing. I've got the line coming out of there from the filter up to here to this block, goes straight down into the carburetor. So that's all nice. Just get some focus on that. I've just put this bit of wire cable tie between the two of it. It's not going to do much, but it'll just, you know, help out a bit. Connected, line double thickness down into there. All nice, not touching anywhere, just that's where everything wants to sit. The power line is running through to the other side, picking up the same. These two are now connected. So I push the red button, both those go at once. Now I'll turn the power on, see if I can get some. Whoops. Let's turn it on to fuel. I did drain the float bowl. So that's it, fuel in the line. You'll soon see by that. Carby's full. Nothing's happening. Now I haven't got the NOS turned on, but I'll hit the button and we should maybe hear the pump going. Now that'll flood the motor, but no big deal. It'll evaporate eventually. There we go, squirting obviously. The pump went. So that's it. The NOS is theoretically all ready. I'll see if that starts now without any choke. flooded it or something. Yep, no choke, so it's very cold. Whoops, it's dead cold. Let's get this let's see what happens if I push that button now. No NOS. steel solenoid should go. Doesn't seem to be making any difference to it. Alright, I'll have to check that out later, see if that's working. Anyway, it should be. Well, that's all that's set up. Now a bit more running in and